Today, children are growing up in a world where everything is fast, competitive, and constantly changing. But behind all of this, there is something we often overlook. What children are actually feeling inside. Pressure, anxiety, stress. They are no longer adults' problem. Even students face them every day. Hello everyone, my name is Pallavi and welcome to this important conversation. These lines were not just lines. They were the real life problem that every student faces. So, to dive into this conversation and help us understand this much better, we are joined by Ms. Neha Jain, a pranic healer and a mental health counselor. In this session, we will explore the challenges faced by students and practical ways to overcome with it. So let's begin. Hello ma'am, it's a pleasure to have you today for the second episode of Health in Mind. How are you?
I'm good, Pallavi. How are you today?
I'm also good ma'am. So ma'am, we know that nowadays children are very stressed and pressured. So what changes you have observed in them in the past few years?
In the past few years, I have seen after the pandemic, the children are more distracted. Socially driven distraction is too much. They are having lack of focus in whatever they are doing. And yes, a lot of anxiety and stress I have seen in them.
So ma'am, this happens at a certain age group?
See, if you talk about certain age group, it comes from 10 to 19, and if you see the young adult, it comes from age group of 20 to 25 more. But surprisingly, I have seen the kids are actually suffering from a lot of mental health illness. So I'll discuss about what is emotions and what are mental health illness in the later. But yes, surprisingly, below 6 years of kids are also suffering from mental health issues.
So ma'am, these things that we are seeing in the children's, we know that they tend to hide these feelings, like they are not comfortable to share with them others. So how does this affect their life?
First of all, I think they are not aware of what actually they are feeling.
Yes.
Because we are in a society where we are not training the young kids or the adult ones or even the matured ones to discuss about their feelings. We always talk about the physical problem rather than talking about the emotional problems. So a society is built in that way. It is more like a myth in a society to talk about their mental health issues or mental health illness or mental health emotions. There are any kind of emotions they are suffering from, they don't talk it out. We are more in a group, sitting in a group, but still we are isolated.
So ma'am, many of them are not even aware of pranic healing. So what actually it is, according to you?
See, there is a difference between, pranic healing and the therapies, the mental health therapies that we are giving. See, pranic healing is basically pran urja ki shakti ke dwara sharir ka upchar karna. It is a way of living. There is energy field around entire physical body. What is that energy field? That is called aura. Have you heard about aura?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an aura. If you see a picture of a god where the entire, rays are coming out from the picture, what is that? That's called aura of a god, which is very big. Even the same, human beings also have their own aura. So it's like we work on the energy field of a person and accordingly, we deal with the problems. So see, there is a physical body which have organs. The liver, the kidneys, the other organs, okay? But there is also an invisible body which is called the energy field that has, the energy body consists of chakras, if you have heard about it or not. The chakras, we have certain chakras, the energy centers which are not visible but can be felt through certain techniques. So प्राण ऊर्जा की शक्ति के द्वारा शरीर का उपचार कैसे करेंगे हम लोग? प्राण ऊर्जा मतलब there is energy, प्राण in everything around us which is living being. Okay? उसकी ऊर्जा को बढ़ाना. Suppose, for example, if you see a child has too much of pran urja in them, that's why they are very hyperactive. Okay? Yes. But when you see the elderly people, they are little depleted in their energy system. Okay? So what we do, if suppose something is not right in your physical body, okay? Something is not right in your physical body, it means you are having a migraine or you are having any kind of, BP, sugar, something like that. So the energy body got affected with tension, worry. Okay, most of the diseases are psychosomatic. Physical problem gets affected only when the energy body is affected. Got it? The energy body got affected with some kind of stress, worry or tension, and it has become so huge that it has penetrated into your physical body and it has created a physical issues. Heart attack, BP, migraine, stress will create a lot of migraine, back pain. So something like that, you know. So what we do is we clean this energy body. We have certain set of protocols, the art of cleansing the entire aura and chakras, balancing them so that those premature thoughts, negative thoughts, they are that you are thinking about it at an instance, or that sometimes those thoughts are not yours, you have picked up from the environment, affecting your entire system. We will clean those things and we will energize with a good prana from the environment. We'll not give our own prana energy. We draw the energy from the entire environment. We have sun energy, solar energy, we have the air energy, wind energy, which we call. We have the energy from, you know, the earth. So we take those energies, sometimes a divine healing process also. We draw the energy and we are becoming an instrument. We are just an instrument to, you know, give the energy to the entire system. So this is how we increase the level of prana in your system, and people acts in, you know, in a very comfortable way. People get healing in that way. प्राण ऊर्जा की शक्ति के द्वारा शरीर का उपचार करना. It is basically an alternative therapy.
Can you please share a real life example where this therapy actually helped a child?
Okay, I'll give you one example. The parents had come to me and parent told me that the child is not going to school. There was some, you know, bullying in the school, and suddenly the child has made an image in a school of a topper, and child was always in a, you know, good books of their teachers. So that something happened, and, you know, some classmates have bullied the child. The child was only in class 6 or 7, bullied a child, and now she doesn't want to go to school, and she feels lonely all the time, as if she has created some kind of crime. So what I did, the parent came to me, told the entire story. I have done the scanning, like what is the root cause. I have come to a conclusion that the child was not able to regulate her emotions, not able to, you know, express what actually he or she was feeling. Okay, and that's the reason the child wanted to be isolated, and child was in a guilt that he or she has created a crime. But it was not a crime also. I mean, it was not a crime at all. It was just a situation. A child has also participated in some kind of, you know, gossips, and that's the reason people have bullied the child, because she has made an image in the classroom that she is the topper. She is in a good books of everyone. So she has isolated herself. She doesn't want to go to school. I have given her sessions, around 15 to 18 sessions, and surprisingly, she was happily going to school. So this change I have seen. Pranic healing is also a process. I would not say it is miraculous. Yes, in some cases it is miraculous also, but yes, it is also a process where provider and the other one who is taking up the healing, it depends on the receptivity of both of us.
That's such a great. But we used to see now that students are not even comfortable for sharing their problems with their parents, because sometimes we saw that even parents are comparing with them with others' children. So is it good for them? Like, obviously it is.
No, it is a red line. It is a very big red line for a parent if a parent is comparing their child with the other one. Because yes, we are set up in a society where we always, you know, judge our child performance on the basis of others. Because we are lacking in knowing our child, that what our child is capable of. So that is a big taboo in the society, that we ourselves don't know what actually our child wants and what are the needs of our child, what is the capability of our child.
So ma'am, we know that generally these comparisons are done on the basis of academics. So is academics really plays an important role for the stress developed in the children's?
See, I'll tell you, there is two brain, right brain and the left brain. The left brain focuses on IQ and the right brain focuses on EQ, emotional qualities, emotional intelligence, we will say. So your question was that the parents are focusing on studies only. See, we judge our child on the basis of those marks, okay?
Yes.
But we fail to judge our child's emotions. We are pressurizing them to get the marks, and on the long run, the child is filled with more stress, anxiety. I would say the parents are gifting their child a lot of pressure, lot of anxiety and lot of stress because of we are giving too much of pressure for studying and getting good marks. Instead, we would have, cater the child to act in a balanced way. Emotional intelligence also, and the IQ also.
Somehow school also plays a role for providing stress to the children, because their peers group, somehow when they're sitting with the students, they are thinking that he or she is more capable than me. So is it good for himself comparing him with others? Because parents are comparing, it is already playing a very disaster role in child. But what if he is only comparing himself with others?
This is because of, I told you, the lack of emotional regulation in a child. The child doesn't trust himself. There is a trust issue. If a child doesn't trust himself or herself, it means this seed has been given from the parenting cycle only. If a parent doesn't trust a child, or if one parent doesn't trust a mother, or mother doesn't trust a father, or the entire pattern of a child is like that, probability could be child has brought up in such an environment that he or she has not been told to trust your own capabilities, be more confident on what he or she can do. So I think this comes not only from school but also from your parenting cycle. Yeah.
Ma'am, we know that nowadays many students are suffering from mood swings, anger issues, like in small things also they are getting angry, and even the trust issues. So how these things are developed and how these things can be controlled?
See, these things have been developed by a lot of social media influence. Most of the childs or adolescents are young kids suffering from bipolar disorder and the ADHD. So this bipolar disorder and ADHD, in some children you'll find lesser amount, in some you'll find a lot of amount in them. So I would say this is like a mental illness. This is not the mental health of a child, but it is like it has become like an illness for them.
So what practices they can do so that it can be controlled?
I am not saying or judging or labeling that every child is suffering from bipolar disorder or ADHD. There are some, having this problem, because this comes from genetics also and kind of environment you are giving to your child. Obviously, the mental health counseling, you can, if you are seeing any kind of red lines in your child, any kind of, red flags in your child, you should actually address these problems to a counseling psychologist or a clinical psychologist or an alternative therapist, pranic healer, or someone like that.
Ma'am, but according to me, parents are not interested in these things like mental health counseling and all, because they are thinking that these things are not necessary, and for a child of age 14 or 15 getting into depression and such words is just a joke for them, like itne se umar mein to it is not possible.
Because we are living in a society where there are a lot of myths. Because if we will go and tell them that I'm feeling this way, the society will say maybe he or she is a mental, but this is a taboo. We should educate our own parent. It is our responsibility also. We are getting so many gyan or so many education from our parents also, because the kids of this era are way much smarter than the millennials, or I would say the kids who were earlier than millennials. So I would suggest the kids should go and talk about their parents. This is very normal if they have that kind of ability to talk. Or else we should create an education about the mental health awareness in the society. And this is a bigger shift that we have to create in the society.
So ma'am, how can parents identify this emotional distress early age?
See, there are many things. If a child is getting too much irritated, if a child is always anxious, if a child is behaving very rudely or having a lot of anger issues, so these are the red lines. There are various things. If a child is always isolated, doesn't want to talk or eat properly, a child is not able to sleep, take a proper sleep, or not feeling good about themselves or talking negative all the time, then these are the red lines. And yes, it depends. If a child has this emotion for shorter period of time, suppose some event happened and in a day child is not feeling good and next day child is good, happy, it's just a passing of emotions, okay? And if this is been carried on for a week or a month, then it is a red line. You should come and address it to a clinical psychologist, I would suggest first talk to a counseling psychologist, mental health psychologist. Then if a issue is exceeded for the mental illness, then you can obviously go and talk to the clinical psychologist, because clinical psychologist will actually guide with the therapies as well as the medication. So better to consult counseling psychologist first.
Ma'am, as you have explained us that parents should not compare their children with others. So what are the more things that parents should focus on so that their child won't be depressed or stressed?
Parents should actually trust their child. Parents should always appreciate their child in every small thing. Parents should create a positive, healthy environment. They should stop comparing their child with other first. Second, a parent should acknowledge their child's work, even if it's a very small work. This will give them more confidence to deal with their internal emotions and external environment also. This will make the child very confident and focused child, because he or she will have a support system at back who is always there for him. If a support system, parents are only not trusting their child or not supporting their child or not always comparing with other, the base of the child will be shaken, right? So we cannot blame the entire system for that. So the parents are creating a base for a child, and parents should actually address that first.
Ma'am, we know that marks doesn't matter at all, but in few days earlier we have saw that 10th results are out, and which actually impacted the students just because they have not scored a good percentage, and they are thinking that they won't be able to do anything in the future just because they have secured a less percentage. And even parents themselves are saying that you are a failure, you can't do anything. So is this really?
No,
obviously
parents are actually, if parents are labeling their child in such a way, this is very sad for the society. This is really very sad. They should not judge anyone on the basis of marks. If I say Pallavi, who is Pallavi? Who are you?
Obviously, I'm a student.
You are a student. You will talk about your strengths. I am this. I have done this in my life. Do you talk about marks? I have scored this in this class or this and that. No, right? Marks are, it will not decide your future. If you will see, there are many people who scored 99, but they are not good in emotional intelligence. They don't know how to sit in public. They don't know how to greet people. They don't have empathy in them. They are not good in life skills. So they are only good in IQ. What kind of parenting or what kind of education system we are giving to a child? If you have scored 99 but still you are lacking in these life skills, abilities or emotional intelligence, what is the use? So IQ and EQ, as I told you, both right and left brain should be balanced. You cannot judge a child on the basis of marks. Both things should be judged. If a child is very good in showing empathy to others, very good in taking care of others, you should also address this. It's okay. If you have not scored good mark, it's okay. You can do something else in your life, and this mark doesn't judge you. This mark doesn't make what Pallavi is. Exactly. So I think parents should come up with that approach.
Ma'am, how thought forms are connected for the child's environment, because they are also influenced by that, right?
Very good question, Pallavi. Thoughts, if suppose you are in an environment where every time you have seen the poverty consciousness talk in your house. What is poverty consciousness? The lack feeling about money. Your mindset becomes the same when you will pass out from 10, when you will pass out from 12, or when you do the graduation or MBA or whatever you will do, you'll go for a job, you will have that, mindset of lack feeling. If suppose I'll be able to do this business or not, I don't think so I'm capable of it, I don't think so I'll make profit out of it. You will have that barrier in your mindset that I am not, enough to do it. I'm not, if suppose you will get an opportunity to go in a Taj and have a tea, so you will feel that no, this is not my cup of tea, I cannot go there. You have that lack feeling in you that no, my money will spend in that way. So bringing up in a kind of environment which you have this lack feeling about money, you will have this mindset entire life until and unless you break it. For example, if you have been brought up in an environment where your parent always appreciate you for everything. Pallavi is very good. Pallavi, you are doing excellent. You are very innocent. You are very honest. So you will be a kind of a person who will always address emotional intelligence and the IQ in a balanced way. You will grow up you have grown up in a very safe environment, in a very positive environment, so you will be a positive person. This really impacts a lot to a thought. The kind of thoughts evolving around us matters a lot, and the kind of thought we are taking it. I always say my clients, जिस thought को हम ज़्यादा खाना देंगे वो thought ज़्यादा मोटा होगा. Obesity.
Yes, ma'am.
कैसे obesity आएगा? Thought form का obesity. When you think कि मुझे बहुत गुस्सा आता है, everybody is saying you the same thing again and again. मुझे इसे बहुत गुस्सा आता है, इसे बहुत गुस्सा आता है, इसे ये बहुत ज़्यादा डरपोक है, ये बहुत ज़्यादा डरपोक है, ये कुछ नहीं कर सकता. So तुम्हारा जो brain का neuro pathways है, जो signals है, it will capture all these thoughts, and whenever anything comes up in your life, you will say, अरे मैं तो nervous रहता हूँ, मैं कैसे ये कर पाऊंगा. Got it? So your brain will react in that way.
So ma'am, how thoughts and energy are connected? Like you have told that everything is energy. So how they both are connected?
We have one thought form in our brain. That thought has come up once, and now you are repeating that thought again and again. Now this thought takes a shape of chemical energy in your brain. Okay, it gives chemical reaction. That is energy. So thought which you have thought about it. Okay, and now you're repeating that thought. It is creating chemical pathways, chemical energy in your brain, and disrupting your physical ability, emotional ability to act in a better way. एक thought आपके brain को बहुत सारे neuro pathways में signals दिए, negative signals दिए, and negative signals के बाद what they did? It has created the chemical reaction, the chemical energy, and it is circulating in your entire body, and whenever some situation comes to your mind, again that pops in. Got it?
Yes.
So this is like a thought and energy.
So ma'am, how to reduce this thought forms? Like if you are thinking of one thing only continuously, it will definitely affect us. So what are the ways how to reduce it?
If you are thinking that Pallavi is not good in studies and everybody is saying you again and again the same thing,
Yes.
so if you have given the energy, the intensity of that thought, like you have been thinking about it every day 10 times, 20 times, or randomly this impromptu thoughts comes in your mind that I'm not good in study. If you really want to change, I would like to give very effective way to help you to come out of this cycle of negative thought forms. What you can do is the positive option you have to think. What you'll think? अगर आपने 10 times ऐसा सोचा है कि Pallavi is not good. Signals have been created, neuro pathways have been created, the chemical reaction has been done. Okay, now what you have to say your brain that Pallavi is very good in studies. Pallavi is very good in study. You have to repeat this thought again and again. It means you are training your brain positively. And the more you are thinking about, suppose you have given 10 times negative thought, you have to think about 100, 10x. 100 times good positive thought. And whenever some situation comes up, like teacher says you tomorrow is test, okay, it will not come up in your brain again, oh I'm not good in study, oh I can do it, I'm good in study. So how to replace? You are training your negative brain by thinking 10x more positive, replacing the 10x more positive thoughts, so that your brain gives you the signal. Oh, the brain gets confused. Oh, she told that she is not good in study, but now she is thinking positive. She is very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. So now it is replaced. Got it? The chemical reaction comes into a positive reaction.
So what are the more things that a child can do to overcome with it?
See, there are many therapies. I'm recently working on, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So behavioral therapy and mindfulness, this helps a lot to a child to think positive. And of course, the affirmations and also the gratitude activities. So there are various therapies, and also like I have gone through some other therapies also, like we can say the SWOTS questionnaire, 40 questionnaire therapy, PVQ SWOTS, PVQ 40 questionnaire, which will help you to deal with the problems you're suffering with. Because sometimes what happens, the child doesn't know which emotions they are suffering with and which emotions are giving them this kind of thought forms. So, we have to analyze and, go through several therapies and procedures, and then we can, actually do it.
Ma'am, that you have told that sometimes child does not know that what they are going through. So how can they know, like, are there some signs that they will feel in them if they are going through stress or some problems?
There are signs. See, if a child is going through anxiety, they will have they'll have racing heartbeats, they'll feel nervous, they'll have very different kind of body posture, they'll have very different facial expressions. So every emotions symptoms are different. So suppose when a child is very very excited, how do we make our face? We are very excited. So everything is related to some kinds of gestures and postures that we are throwing, or the tantrums that we are giving. So it is very easy to find out if a child is going through some kind of emotions or not. And of course, talking to a counseling psychologist, no matter what. We have to, erase this taboo in the society that talking to a counseling psychologist, parents think, my child is not mental. Why should I go and talk to some counseling psychologist? So we have to erase this taboo from the society that your child is not mental. It is good to address the emotions also of your child rather than only addressing the physical problem of your child.
So ma'am, like we have talked about parents, that they don't feel like taking their childs to that. And just because of that, students or the children are also feeling, yeah, my parents are right, क्यों ही जाना है, and I can bear with it, I can do, मैं अपने आप को ठीक कर लूँगी. So is it good for them?
No, it is not actually good for them. But mental health awareness is again a key to aware the child that there are some settings in the school which can help you out. Like now the CBSE has made a very good rule of having a counseling psychologist in every school. So congratulations to all the students. If the schools are abiding to the rules of CBSE, it means you can have a healthy conversation with your counseling psychologist. And one more thing, if you talk to a counseling psychologist in any premises, in a school or in any setting, it means your secrets are very, very confidential. Obviously, the counseling psychologist will not reveal it to your parent or even to your friends or anyone. So this, I know the child will come to you, child will think, if I'll go and talk to this ma'am, she will talk to my parents, or she might, disclose it to my friends. So my dear friends, I would like to inform all of you that the confidentiality is the oath of any psychologist, counseling psychologist. So yes, it's very important, we don't disclose anything. The client could be 6-year-old, 5-year-old, or a client could be 60-year-old.
Ma'am, even they used to think that if I'll go to her, then what she will think about me, like if I'll share everything, what will be her reaction, what she will think of me, that how I'm actually. So what do you think about it?
Does it really matter to you? Think about like what she will think about you, or rather than coming out of the problem in a smooth way?
Definitely coming out of the problem.
Yeah. So no counseling psychologist judge any patient of them. So again, this is again a taboo. What if a counseling psychologist will judge? What if he or she will, disclose everything to my parents? So again, this is a taboo, and we have to eradicate this, because they keep everything to themselves, and they also make sure that they don't judge their clients, or they don't judge their students. No judgment will be passed.
Ma'am, how routines can improve a child? Like we know that many students does not follow a proper routine. So if they will follow it, and what changes they will see?
See, I'll tell you, the children are actually following a routine. They wake up in the morning, they do all the daily activity, daily course, and then they come to school, they follow the entire routine in the school, they go back to your respective homes, and then after that they have to follow the routine. But I think nowadays child doesn't have time to follow the routine. Actually, they are more focused in distracting themselves. So I think digital detox is a very important point which a child should focus, because most of the time we are, we want to follow a routine. We are already in a routine, but once we are at home, we will always focus on games, watching reels or Netflix, or chilling out, or K-drama. Okay, so you have to make sure that once you are out from school, you are doing whatever is necessary first. You have to prioritize those works first, and then give 1 hour or 1.5 hours to your digital zone also, because that is also important. Okay, so what I believe is a child should focus in a way that he or she is giving time to each part of their life, because I think getting exposed to digital world is also a good thing, but in limitation. Just set a goal for yourself that in a day I will watch only for 1 hour, and I will see a good things. What I feel is a person who is focusing on himself or herself and helping him or her to grow in a better way is following a good routine. If you are growing and you are successful, it means you're following a good routine to that. We have made routine also a big taboo, that 5 to 6 I have to study, and 6 to 10 I have to do yoga or this and that. So you have to focus what is your first priority, and then work on your priority first, and then do whatever you want to do. So I think revision has to be made for the routine rather than bounding ourselves, because child nowadays, they don't like foundations. They don't want themselves to be bounded in some kind of routine. So the better suggestion is prioritize your work, do that first, and at the end, do your favorite work. So you will have that, energy that, okay, let me finish up first all of this, and then I will do my favorite work at the end. So this will keep you up to do your things.
So ma'am, at last, what coping mechanism would you suggest the childs, because nowadays they are so pressured, like they are not even interested in studying just because they are being pressured by the schools and parents ki padna hai, especially for class 10, they are having the boards this year, padna hai. So what coping mechanism would you, or what practices you will share to them?
First, I would like to tell all the board students, make a routine in a way that prioritize your work, prioritize your study first, and then prioritize on your hobbies, because hobbies will make you happy. Focus on painting, it might be singing, or it might be dancing, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you smile. Okay, so you can focus on that first. Second, I would suggest everyone to cut down their distractions, that is digital detox, limiting to 2 hours or 1 hour. I'm not saying to cut down the digital usage, but you can short it down. If you're watching for 5-6 hours, just try to make it 3 hours, then 2 hours, then 1 hour. So this will help you to cope up. And the thirdly, I would say, please to everyone to practice mindfulness. Okay, mindfulness is again a meditation. And the fourth thing is, breath work really helps. It is like a quick fix for everything. Whenever you are feeling nervous, whenever you are feeling too much of pressurized from your family or teachers or school authorities, you have to just do the quick fix. Just sit calmly, say yourself, I'm okay, it's okay, I can do it, I'm not forcing myself, this is necessary for my education development, okay, my intelligence development. And then you can do the breath work. You just have to inhale, hold, and exhale. Okay, you have to inhale for 3 counts, close your eyes, hold for 3 count, and exhale for 3 count. So this will actually calm you, and you have to do this entire cycle, 3-3-3 cycle, for 12 times, 3:3:3 for 12 cycles. So this will help you a lot, quick fix. And there are many other therapies that will help. We can have it in the next podcast.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Those questions and especially your answers was so beautifully expressed, and it really helped me as a student. If any stress or any anxiety when I'm feeling, I'll definitely follow those steps that you have provided us. And I hope this podcast will definitely help parents and even the students who are suffering from mood swings, anger issues, or so many different things. And even the one who is having 10th or any important exams, they won't be stressed. And especially I like the last technique that you have shared with us, that breathing technique. It will really help everyone. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing all those answers. Thank you so much.
It was pleasure to be with you, Pallavi. Very nicely you have put the entire thing. God bless you. Have a beautiful life ahead.
Thank you so much.